Секретаријатот за европски прашања на Република Македонија потпиша меморандум за соработка со Колеџот на Европа Натолин во рамки на стипендирање на македонските студенти и размена на искуства и знаење во изучување на европските студии на Колеџот во Варшава. Телевизија Нова разговараше со директорот за комуникации и регрутирање на Колеџот на Европа за тоа како и каде може да се аплицира, како и за потребните критериуми на апликантите. Mr. Washington, the College of Europe and the Secretariat for European Affairs of the Government of the Republic of Macedonia have signed a memorandum of understanding. What exactly does this memorandum entail?
Well, the memorandum is quite a broad document, and it foresees a long period of cooperation over many years. The most specific element that we're looking at the moment is the idea of creating a number of scholarships that would be available for Macedonians to come and study at the college in Natolin. We've been in existence for 25 years in Natolin, and we've only had 17 Macedonians in that time, although one of them is now your Minister Plenipotentiary in Warsaw, for instance, so we've had quite some famous Macedonians come through, and your ambassador in Kazakhstan. So the idea is to actually bring more Macedonians to come and study at the college. And we're looking at a number of options so that the scholarships might be available generally for university students, and the other option, which I think is probably more likely, that they'll be available for civil servants to come. And we'll probably have one or two per year, which in a student population of 130 students, which we have at the college at the moment, is quite a good proportion. So that's our hope, so that over the next 20 years of the college, we'll have something like 40 Macedonians pass through. At the same time, the memorandum envisages quite a lot of cooperation in the area of training for civil servants, training for other members of NGOs and people working in public life in Macedonia, other cooperation which might be between Macedonian academic institutions and the college, but a lot of that is still to be worked out. We're in early days, but we look like we're going to be able to get maybe 2 Macedonians into the college for the next academic year, so starting in 2017 to 2018, so that's our hope. And I think there's a lot of goodwill and energy and commitment to that on both sides. I was really impressed yesterday with the work and meetings I had at the Secretariat for European Affairs, and we've also had the Secretary of State at the college earlier in the year, twice. So I think we're very strongly committed to this, and I hope that in the spring of next year I will be able to come here and we'll be able to have a selection committee for those students for the following year.
In terms of scholarships, what is the current dynamic of the College of Europe, also called Natolin?
Well, there's a lot of different scholarships available for the college. I'll tell you straight off how much it costs for a year. It's 24,000 euros, which is a very, very large sum. Having said that, that includes tuition from one of the most highly qualified faculties you'll find anywhere. Our professors come from all over Europe, and we fly them in to teach, so we call them a flying faculty. So very few of them are actually based at the college. So we get the best of the best from the best places all over Europe and beyond. So that's very important, and that's what you're paying for in those 24,000 euros. But you also get your accommodation, food, study trips, and a number of other benefits, including medical insurance, included in that. So it's not absolutely outrageously expensive given what's involved in it. Having said that, more than 70% of our students have a scholarship of some sort. There are scholarships available from the college itself, which are funded by the European Parliament and the European Commission. And they're available for people who come from European neighbourhood policy countries. So that's the countries of what we now know as the Eastern Partnership, countries like Ukraine, Armenia, Georgia, and it's also the countries of the the Southern Mediterranean, so North Africa. So what we now call the Maghreb, and also the Mashrek, so countries like Israel and Lebanon. So that's those scholarships. But then a number of EU governments also offer scholarships. The most generous now for Natolin is actually the Polish government, which gives a number of scholarships for its citizens, and also some for Ukrainians. The Germans, the French, the Italians, the Spanish, even the British still give scholarships for students and for civil servants, but there's a whole range. So we're very dependent on a number of member state governments of the EU. We also have scholarships available at the college for historians, so people who want to come and study history at the college, and for EU citizens who want to study the European neighbourhood policy and the relationship of the EU with its neighbours, including candidate countries like Macedonia. So that's a range of scholarships. For Macedonians, The scholarships available are hopefully these that we hope to create here, or that already exist here, but we hope to apply to the college, and the scholarships for historians. So actually any Macedonian who has studied history or a related discipline can apply for a scholarship, a full scholarship, to study with us. The range of scholarships available, all those scholarships that we have at the college ourselves that we can give out, they're full scholarships. Some of the nation-state scholarships, some of the member state scholarships are in fact partial, so that people then have to find their own money. As I say, very few of our students actually pay entirely for themselves, because those are very large sums of money. I have to say that for Americans, and interestingly enough, that's not a lot of money. Americans are used to paying, $50,000, $60,000 for 1 year of tuition, let alone anything else that they might have to pay for, like accommodation. So for Americans, actually, we're quite cheap, but I think for Europeans, we are seen as extremely expensive, and for that reason, we're very grateful for the support we get for all the scholarships that we have to give out. Hopefully, in time, we will develop other scholarship schemes that might mean that we can bring more students from countries like Macedonia and other countries in the Balkan region, for instance.
What can the College of Europe offer our students and civil servants who are interested to pursue a master's degree in Poland?
The course at Natolin is very much focused on European studies. Having said that, it's called European Interdisciplinary Studies. So what it is an opportunity to look at the phenomenon of European integration and also Europe's relationship with its neighbours, and also the phenomenon of situation of countries like Macedonia from a 360-degree standpoint. So you can study it from historical, economic, social science, political science angles, and also we actually teach European law as well. And it helps give students a very rounded view of these processes. The course is split into two parts. It's 1 year. In the first semester, students study a range of courses, and everybody studies them together, covering these different disciplinary areas. So they get a broad knowledge. And then in the second semester, they can concentrate on 4 thematic majors. We call them majors, they're options, really. So they can concentrate on Europe and European public policies and politics, Europe as a global actor, Europe and the European neighbourhood policy and its neighbours, or our history major. So we have a special major just to look at European history. And the students choose one of these majors, and then within that, they can specialise, say, on just subjects that cover economics, or they can specialise in subjects that cover political science or international relations theory and practice, for instance. So they can actually form their course and mould it to suit their professional needs. And I think that's why it's a very good course for, say, Macedonian civil servants to go and do, because they can get a broad understanding in the first semester, and in the second semester, based on what their career hopes and objectives are, when they come back here, they can choose those subjects that most clearly suit their particular needs. So I think it's a very good program for people who want to be involved in the process of developing European integration of Macedonia, and also actually developing, for instance, business that wants to work in the whole of the European space, where you need to have a good knowledge of how European institutions work, how European law operates, how the single market operates, and things like that. So it offers people, not just in public administration, but also who work in business and other economic sectors, a possibility to really develop their knowledge. The other advantage of coming to study with us is that you come to a very small community, 130 students, but coming from more than 30 countries. So what you get is a big international network. And this is extraordinary, because today I will meet Macedonian graduates of the college. I did yesterday as well, because the Secretary of State is herself a graduate. If I go to any city in Europe and I type in Facebook or LinkedIn, I'm here and can I meet with graduates? I can, because the network is all over Europe now. People who've studied at the college and who are ready to work together, I think, for very positive objectives. So it's a really big opportunity to in one step, to really widen your perspectives and widen your network. But there aren't other subjects to study outside of those that we've got on the program.
Mr. Washington, I presume this is not the first memorandum of understanding that the College of Europe has signed. What are the practices so far with other countries that have signed this memorandum as well?
We work in, as you say, in a number of countries. The college has always depended on the involvement of member states of, well, originally, of course, they weren't member states of any organization because the college started in 1949. But different countries in that time in Western Europe were committed to the college's idea, which was to build up a knowledge and also, if you like, human capital for the process of European integration. So we've long cooperated with with countries, and in fact the college's governing body in Bruges in Belgium, where the original campus was set up, has members of all of the European Union member states, for instance, on the governing council. In Poland we have a slightly different setup, but we also have some foreign members on that council, so there's always been excellent cooperation. So we have memoranda of understanding with various governments going back decades, and they're very successful. For instance, the French government or the German government, the Spanish government. More recently, we obviously have one with the Polish government, which set up the campus in Poland, and we work very closely with the Polish government. And then as we've expanded into getting students from the eastern neighborhood in particular to come to the College of Europe in Natolin, we've started working very closely and signed memorandum with the Moldovans, with the Ukrainians. We have an international agreement between the Polish government and the Ukrainian government, which we're a co-signatory to, which set up a whole scholarship scheme for Ukrainians to come to the college. We're also working on something in Georgia at the moment, and we hope to extend that kind of work further. And my experience of that is it's very positive, because we've always had this view that we should never just exist as a college that's not associated with lots of different governments, but that we should work as closely as possible and with authorities in various countries to try and get their students to come and study with us, so that there's buy-in. Because the whole point of this is to help countries like Macedonia develop their human capital for the process of European integration, and that has to come from the bottom. We can't come and impose our ideas. We have to work with local representatives in order to develop those ideas together and to help that process. So that's a very positive part of my work, and I have to say that coming here for these few days for me has been a really great pleasure, because I can see the energy and commitment of people here to work along with us with the same values and the same commitment to developing, as I say, human capital, and that's the most important thing for the future of European integration.
Mr. Washington, when can we expect this exchange of knowledge and experience to begin?
I would hope that we can come back here in March and start the process of interviewing people. Our applications process works that in November, on the 1st of November, you can apply online. So if you go to www.coleurope.eu, it tells you how to apply. And you make your application online, you upload all your documents, and then we go through the file, we make a short list, and we invite those people to interview. And the interview would take place maybe for half an hour with each candidate here in Skopje, and then we would award places to the people who actually reached our standards. And we do it in a very transparent way. Everything is done with scoring. So you have a final score, and then you have interview scores on various points, and everybody is ranked according to those scores, agreed by consensus by the committee. So hopefully by May this year we'll be able to send emails off to some successful candidates and say, you are welcome to come study with us, and here's a scholarship, and they would start in September 2017 and work through to the following June, because our program is 1 year. So that's the beginning. In the meantime, we will go on talking about how we can develop other programs and ideas together to help bring other people and develop the human capital that I've been talking about. So that's the plan, and I hope very soon we'll be able to say that the memorandum is on the road and going forward.